Forget Bayer. Golf courses kill summer lawn fungus practically overnight with a $1 bottle, and it's sitting in your medicine cabinet right now. Not a $50 fungicide, not a call to the lawn service. A $1 brown bottle you've probably owned for years and never once thought to pour on your grass. Here's the situation, and if you've lived it, you know the sick feeling. You walk out one morning and there's a patch of your lawn that wasn't there the day before. A circle or a blotchy dead spot of brown, matted, almost slimy-looking grass, like the whole area got sick overnight. And it did. By the next morning, it's bigger. A day later, bigger still. Lawn fungus doesn't creep along slowly like a weed. It explodes. It can take a healthy green section of your yard down to brown straw in about a week, spreading in rings and blotches while you stand there watching it eat the lawn you worked all season to build. And here's what makes it so cruel. Everything you'd normally do to help your lawn actually feeds the fungus and makes it spread faster. So you're out there trying to save your grass and you're accidentally pouring gas on the fire. Most people never figure that out. They water more, they feed it, they even spray the wrong stuff, and they watch the brown keep marching across the yard until half of it is gone. My name's Roman, and I only learned the truth because I asked the guy who keeps a golf course green in the worst heat of summer. And what he told me about a $1 bottle changed how I handle this completely. Let me show you what he showed me. I was walking a golf course one August, the kind of heat and humidity that turns most lawns into a fungus nightmare, and this course was flawless. Deep green, tight, not a brown blotch anywhere. And I knew that fungus loves exactly those conditions: hot nights, thick humidity, grass that stays damp. So how was this course perfect when my yard back home had a brown ring spreading across it? I found the superintendent and asked him straight, with all this heat and humidity, how are you not losing this whole course to fungus? He smiled and said, "Oh, we deal with fungus all the time out here. We just deal with it different than you do, and cheaper than you'd ever believe." The first thing he told me was why fungus was winning at my house, and it flipped everything I thought I knew. He said, lawn fungus, the brown patch, the dollar spot, all those summer diseases, they're not really invaders that come from nowhere. The fungus is already living in your soil all the time. Quietly, it only turns into a problem when the conditions tip in its favor. And those conditions are simple: warm nights, poor airflow, and grass that stays wet for too long, especially overnight. When a blade of grass stays damp through the whole night, that's when the fungus wakes up and takes off. So the disease isn't attacking a healthy lawn out of the blue, it's blooming on a lawn that stays wet too long. Then he told me the mistake almost everybody makes, and I felt it land, because I'd been doing it. He said when people see a brown patch, their first instinct is to water it more because it looks dry and dead. But watering is the worst thing you can do. You're handing the fungus the one thing it needs, more moisture, right when it's spreading. And the second mistake, he said, is watering in the evening. People come home from work and run the sprinkler at night, which leaves the grass soaking wet in the dark for 10, 12 hours. That's a fungus paradise. So folks are literally scheduling the disease with their own sprinkler timer and never know it. So I asked him, then what's the $1 bottle? What do you reach for when it flares up? And he told me something I never expected: hydrogen peroxide. The plain brown bottle of 3% hydrogen peroxide from any drugstore or dollar store. About $1. He explained why it works so fast. Fungus, at its core, hates oxygen at the surface and thrives in stagnant, damp, low oxygen spots. Hydrogen peroxide is basically water with an extra oxygen atom bolted on, and when you spray it onto that fungal patch, it breaks apart and releases a burst of oxygen right where the fungus is living. That oxygen blast kills the fungal growth on contact, almost like disinfecting a wound, which is the same reason it foams up on a cut. It knocks the disease back overnight, and because it breaks down into just water and oxygen, it doesn't poison your soil, your grass, your pets, or you. A $1 bottle does in a night what people are paying $50 and a service call to chase. Here's exactly how he told me to use it, because the mix matters. Take that 3% hydrogen peroxide and mix it about 1 part peroxide to to 3 or 4 parts water in a sprayer. Then spray it directly onto the brown fungal patch and a little ring of healthy grass around the edge, because that green edge is where the fungus is actively spreading into. Do it in the early morning so the grass has the whole day to dry out afterward, which is the opposite of what feeds the disease. Don't drench it. A good even coating is enough. And don't do it in blazing midday sun, because strong sun right after can stress the blades. Morning, light coat, let it dry all day. That's the whole thing, and you'll usually see the spread stop by the next morning. Now, before I give you the part that keeps the fungus from ever coming back, let me be honest with you, because I know how this goes. You're going to watch this, it'll all make sense today, and you'll feel ready. Then, a few weeks from now, you'll walk out to a fresh brown ring and think, wait, was it 1 part peroxide to 3 or to 4, morning or evening? Do I soak it or just missed it? And you'll second guess yourself, or worse, water it at night out of habit and feed the very thing you're trying to kill. The steps are simple, but they're exactly the kind of thing that slips your mind right when you're standing there watching your lawn turn brown. So I put the whole thing in writing. I wrote a short, plain English field guide called The Dormant Season Playbook, the exact calendar a golf course pro runs, rewritten for a regular backyard, what to buy, where to get it, how much to use, and the precise week to put it down, from stopping problems like summer fungus all the way through the fall feeding that sets up next spring. No guessing in the yard, wondering if you're doing it right. The link's down below if you want it. It's there for you. Now back to the superintendent, because after he gave me the bottle, he said the thing that mattered most. He said, the peroxide stops the flare-up, but if you want to know why this course barely gets fungus in the first place, it's not what we spray. It's how we manage moisture and air. And he told me the real defense, and every piece of it is free. The first thing is watering in the morning, never at night. He said this one change alone prevents most lawn fungus. Water early, between dawn and mid-morning, and the sun dries the grass by afternoon, so the blades aren't sitting wet in the dark. Water at night, and you guarantee 12 hours of damp, which is an open door for disease. Same amount of water, completely different result just by moving the clock. The second thing is water deep and infrequent. A little sprinkle every day keeps the surface constantly moist, which is exactly what fungus wants. 1 deep soak a week lets the surface dry out fully between waterings, and dry surface grass simply can't hold a disease. Deeper roots, drier blades, less fungus, all from watering less often. The third thing is airflow, and this is the one nobody thinks about. Fungus thrives in stagnant, still, humid air trapped down in thick, spongy grass. He said 2 things open that up. First, don't let your thatch, that spongy dead layer at the base of the grass, get too thick, because it traps moisture right where the fungus lives. Rake it out once it builds up. And second, don't overfeed with quick nitrogen in summer, because all that lush, soft, crowded growth chokes off air movement and holds humidity against the blades. Leaner, tougher grass with air moving through it stays dry and healthy. He said get the watering time, the deep soaking, and the airflow right, and the peroxide becomes a rare emergency tool instead of a weekly battle. So let me put the whole thing together the way he laid it out for me. Forget the $50 fungicide. When a brown fungal patch flares up, mix 1 part dollar store hydrogen peroxide with 3 or 4 parts water. Spray it on the patch and the green edge in the morning and let it dry all day. It kills the flare overnight. Then, keep it gone for good by watering in the morning instead of at night, soaking deep once a week instead of a little daily, and keeping your thatch thin and your grass lean so air moves and the blades stay dry. A $1 bottle and a few free habits beat everything the store sells for this. Now, you might wonder why nobody ever told you this. Why the answer to a brown lawn is always a big-name jug that costs $50, when a $1 bottle from the same shelf as the bandages does the job. And the honest answer is the one you probably see coming by now. There's no money in hydrogen peroxide. Nobody can patent it. Nobody can slap a logo on the only bottle of it and mark it up to $50. The expensive fungicide has the brand, the shelf space, and the ad budget, so that's the one that gets pushed at you, while the dollar fix that pros quietly rely on sits over in the pharmacy aisle where nobody's looking for a lawn cure. It was never hidden because it fails. It's ignored because it's too cheap to sell. So here's what to do. Next time you spot a brown fungal ring spreading across your grass, don't water it and don't panic. Grab a $1 bottle of hydrogen peroxide, mix it down, and spray the patch and its green edge first thing in the morning. Then switch your watering to mornings, go deep once a week, and thin out that thatch. You'll watch the spread stop overnight, and you'll have spent about $1 instead of $50. The superintendent did me a favor that day out on his course. Now I'm passing it on to you. And hit subscribe, because there's a lot more where this came from. The store's been getting away with it for too long, and every trick I dig up, I bring straight to you. Your lawn deserves it, and so does your wallet.